Hello. Are we live? Hello. I'm just making sure that everything is working. Oh, great. Hello. There's people there. Yay. Wonderful. Can you see me? Please let me know if you can see me and hear me. Can you see me? Oh, okay. I'm going to get started. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me here. I really appreciate it. Live on YouTube again. And I am Brooke, and this is the pink2paris channel. And this is also my room where I go live. And getting a pop-up on my screen here. Let me get rid of that. And I thank you so much for joining me. I believe there's a tiny bit of a delay of when I talk and when you hear me, so I'm just keeping track of that. And thank you. I'm getting responses now saying that people can hear me. I'd like to start off with a check-in. So if you can let me know who you are and where you're from. Actually, I'd love to know where you're watching from. Most likely it's late where you are. It's 7 o'clock here Central Time in Milwaukee, and let me know what's going on. I have a few people in the room right now, so I like to start off with, oh, okay, no delay noticed. I like to start off with a check-in to see how everybody's doing. So let me know who you are. Hey, Jethro. And where you're writing from or watching from, that would be great. And how you're doing, because I'd like to check in. I'll start since I'm talking here. Sheba Speaks is coming from New Jersey. We got Elsa Neal in Detroit. This is wonderful. And Ingrid's in Peru, Lima, Peru. Very nice. Very nice. And are you all seeing the comments that people are making, or is it just me? And Jethro's from the UK. Nice. Angela from the Midwest. Can you all see that, or is it just me and I need to do something? I'm using a brand new software for me. It's been out for a while, but I'm trying to make sure that I know how to use it. It's really pretty slick. It's a lot easier than the old way I was trying to go live. And I am just really excited. So, oh wow, we have Philippa Castro from Lisbon, Portugal. Wow, we have the international crowd. Okay, and Christine Thompson is my mom. Thanks, Mom, for letting me know you can see them. Okay, you all see the comments. Great. I am very happy. This is definitely something that gives me the jitters going live. But it's really, really fun once I get into it. And to give me a little more support, I got the giant glass of wine here, pink Moscato. Thanks, Mom. And I'll be sipping on that from time to time. If you've got something that you're sipping on too, let me know what that is. Keep it going. Let's a conversation, because that's why I go live, so that we can all, see what we're talking about. So Begin Stepper is coming from Milwaukee. Oh, okay. Milwaukee, right in town here with me. And Sheba says, hi, Mom. Hey, Mom, you got a fan. And good conversation is going back and forth. I love it. And, we've got, actually, we got a nice amount of people in the room here. This is great. Thanks, Sheba. Don't be nervous. I'm trying. It's a little nerve-wracking, but like I said, this software I have, it's called Ecamm Live. If any of you go live on YouTube, it's a lot easier than using the other way of going with the OBS and the background. So this is good, and I can also do things like this. So you guys are wonderful and happy to see me, right? So I got it just for that. But anyway, we're going to have a topic here. I'm going to talk about productivity tips, things that I do to stay extra productive throughout my days. And I don't know if you had a chance to read my blog article that I wrote about this. I wrote about this on and posted it on Sunday a few days ago. And I put it on Instagram that you can read the blog before, and then we can have a conversation about it live today. And that's what I'm doing. But if you haven't read it, no problem. We'll just talk about productivity tips. And if you have your own, please let me know some of the productivity tips that you have. And then also chime in if I say something that resonates with you. Let us know that as well. So before I get started on that, like I said, I had the jitters, but I'm feeling much better now. Thank you all so much for calming me down. Being here with you is like the next best thing to us all being together and having a conversation. It's a lot better than when I go to film a regular video, because then I'm just staring at the camera. I pretend like you're all there, but here I can actually get a little feedback, which is much, much better. Other than that, everything's been going well in my world. The kids are doing great. Brett's doing great. I'm enjoying summertime. I love the hot weather, and I hope you do too, because it's here. And that's about it. So if you are just joining, make sure, because I see some people are popping in. Make sure that you let us know where you're from, so we can get to know you. And let me turn the volume off on my. I just turned the volume off on my computer. Can you still hear me? Or did I turn the mic off? I think I did fine. So you can't hear me? Brett, can you hear me? I'll just turn that back on then, just in case. So, okay. So productivity, I wrote about that, and I wanted to make sure that it's something that people know a little bit more about, because if you haven't noticed, my channel has taken a little bit of a direction. Great, thanks that you can hear me. I've gone into the personal development space, and it's making me feel so much more energized these days, going to do videos and putting out content for you, because I really love the thought of, hey, we're at a certain point, but there's always things we can do to develop ourselves and make ourselves a little bit better. Thanks, Shiva. And don't get me wrong, I love purses and makeup and Louis Vuitton and all my major brands that I love and follow, still do, but this speaks to me more right now, so I really want to share things with you. I've talked on my channel about my weight loss journey. I don't know if you've seen that video, but that's a real big thing that was going on, and I'm glad I got to share with you my anxiety story. That was something that was deep and personal, but I'm glad I got to share it, because you wouldn't believe how many different emails and comments I got on how people felt like it inspired them and helped them. So that's what makes me tick and tingle, is feeling like I'm getting down to the core. I mean, sure, we all want to talk about frivolous things, but when I'm getting down to inspiring someone to that level, that's just wonderful. I love it. So that's just me. But I wanted to talk about productivity, if that's okay. So Jethro says it's 1:08 here, so he really needs to go. Okay, thank you, and thank you so much for popping in. You've been watching me for ages. Okay, goodbye, and I really, really appreciate your support. Good night. But so let's talk about productivity today, and what I've come up with as in this article, I said 14 tips for productivity, and what I mean, there's tons of tips out there. If you Google productivity, you're going to come up with tons of things out there. And I realized what is most important to me in my life and keeps me going. My mom would tell you that I'm pretty much a goal getter. I'm always on the go. I'm always doing things. I do things that she says sounds like homework when it's fun work for me. So how do I get all that stuff done? How do I get stuff done in one day? Well, the first thing I do is I stop trying to be perfect when necessary. And perfectionism, I think, is one of the killers for productivity, because perfectionism is just sitting around making sure that you're going to not put out something until it is absolutely perfect or even flawless. And a lot of times those are your own standards. When I say something not good enough will do, but something average will do. Something your best that you can put out right now will do, rather than waiting and putting it off and putting it off. That's procrastination. So that you can do something even better or perfect or flawless. And that's not what's expected, and your productivity wanes because you just don't do anything. And that's why one of my top tips is to not expect myself to be perfect. I have to remind myself of that sometimes. It's really hard, because sometimes you feel like you have to prove yourself, and in order to do that, it comes through the quality of your work. But I tell you, sometimes people won't even notice that extra effort you put in to take something from highly acceptable to perfect, and people won't even know the difference. So what do you guys think about that? Any perfectionists out there struggling with this, being perfect all the time, not getting anything done because you want it to be so perfect that it really slows you down? It's very, very common, and I don't know if I'm seeing comments anymore or if you guys stopped, but it's very, very common situation. And like I said, it's something that I've had to face and perfect in myself, because being perfect is what we want, but it's something that is definitely not always achievable. And a lot of times it's better just to get something done. Not a bad job, but a good job, rather than to get it out and be perfect. Who agrees with me? My mom says perfect is boring. Yeah, it is. It is boring. It's not. You learn a lot from mistakes, which is a healthy way to learn and grow. You don't have to do it all the time, but yeah, you learn a lot when you give yourself the space to make those mistakes, or just do what you have to do. Don't produce a lot of errors, but it doesn't have to be tied up with a perfect bow all the time. Another thing that I do to make sure that I am productive, and this is huge for me, is make sure that I reward myself for my hard work and effort. I love treats. I love prizes. I always give myself a good something to strive for, and I think that's very, very good for people. A manicure if I do this hard project, or if I'll treat myself to something I want to eat, for that reason or whatever. But making sure that you have rewards lined up is not only good for getting productive, but it's good for setting your goals. When I talk to people about goals, I always recommend that they have something that's tangible or maybe even intangible, but mostly tangible, that is something that's waiting for them as they cross that finish line. And if nothing else, it's another way to motivate yourself and get you going. So who talks about or who does rewards for themselves? I'm trying to think. So for me, my big reward is getting like a bedtime treat. And you all know I'm on a weight loss journey, so I make sure that the treat isn't too bad. But Werther's sugar-free hard candy. It's only like 8 calories each, and I'll pop a couple of those before bed. And I was like, that's a good treat for what I've done today. And I feel really good because it's like the project is complete, and I'm celebrating. Love to celebrate, and that's it. So I'm just checking to see. I think I lost a screen here. Oh, there we go. So you're still there, and I'm going to still just keep going until you tell me something or have a question. Feel free to pop in. Elisa, I'm sorry if I said your name wrong before, but it looks like Elisa says she rewards herself after every productive week. That's very good. What do you do to reward yourself? Is there something that you have every time, or is it something different every time? I think it's really, really helpful if you identify what the reward is going to be in advance before you set up, you start doing your activities for the week, because it's, it's just like I said, something to strive for and to motivate yourself. That positive carrot you can dangle in front of yourself, whatever works. I'm a fan for, trying what I can and seeing if it works and going for it. And this is definitely something that works for me. So another thing that I do to make sure that I stay productive is I plan for it. It sounds like that's something that a lot of people do, but plan in advance for what you need to get done. So I'll always go, Mangus, you can't stay, but you wanted to pop in to support. That is so sweet of you. Thank you very much for popping in. I really, really appreciate that. And I appreciate all of you for being here with me. And I just can't say that enough. So have a great night. I'll be around, and this will be recorded on my channel if you want to catch it back at another time. So, but anyway, going back to planning your day. So every night, either at night before I go to bed or right away when I wake up in the morning, I take a little Post-it note, just like these little Post-it notes, and I write 3 to 5 things on there that I want to accomplish that day or the next day. And it's based off of what I wanted to accomplish that week. So I prioritize for each day, and I plan for what I need. Do I have an appointment coming up that I need to be ready for? Or, just making sure that you plan ahead is one way to stay productive. I always find that when I do slip up and I'm chasing activities, like they're ahead of me and I just can't keep up, it's a lot harder than when I plan ahead for them and I'm in control and I'm in charge. I like your list making for productivity. Okay. Yeah, that is a really good idea. And like I said, I only focus on 3 to 5 things that are priority, because you can't, I used to make my list like 10 items long that I wanted to do in a day. And first of all, life comes up. You can't get all that stuff done. And the second thing is that that you would be completely exhausted if you tried to do everything. And I did some math. Don't like to, but I did some math one day, and I said, if I did 3 to 5 things every day, well, 3 things 7 days a week, that's 21 big things that I get done a week. And that's a lot. That's a lot more than a lot of people do. So you make your list, and like I said, 3 things that are, critical for that day adds up to be a lot of things that you accomplish in a week or a longer period of time. So keep that in mind and be planful. It's so much easier to be proactive in life than reactive. That's what I always say. Um, Tip number 4 is to stop trying to do everything on your own and learn to delegate. This is huge, and it took me a very long time to learn because back in the days when I, wanted to be perfect, but never could be. One of the things that meant you're perfect to me was that you could do everything by yourself. And not only does that overwhelm you, wear you out, and just burn you out, it's not sustainable, and it's really not achievable. So what I really had to learn, especially, around the house, my kids will tell you, my husband will tell you that I have picked up ways like we all have to pitch in and do stuff around the house. My husband actually does a lot of work around the house, but there's other things where I can't do by myself, so I need help. I do that a lot at work. I do that a lot and at home. But it's just another way to get things done. Another way you're going to get things done is, not recruiting family and coworkers, but sometimes you might need to hire somebody, enlist support from outside sources. So like there's a guy that comes and does our lawn service. He makes sure that there's no weeds growing in my grass. And there's people, I have someone come every other week to help do the deep cleaning in the house. Because with everybody working, it's just hard to get to. So being productive or getting things done doesn't always mean that you have to be the one rolling up your sleeves and getting it done. What delegating also does is free you up to do the things that you're best equipped to handle. So for instance, I'm in the process of starting a business, and it makes much more sense for me to delegate some of the tasks that are involved with running a business, then I should be freed up so that I can do the planning and the strategizing and things like that. So that's another good reason why delegating is so important, because it frees you up to do things that you're better equipped at. My strengths lie in planning and organizing, so it's better for me to spend my time doing that and hand off the things that I'm weaker at to someone else who may be strong in those things. So that's another productivity tip is delegation. Tip number 5, how are we doing? Anybody have anything to say right now? Is everybody, any questions or things like that? I feel like I'm moving at a rapid pace, but if you're hanging in there with me, thank you. Another thing that I do for making sure that I'm very productive is to, let's see, number 5, start the day off right by creating a morning routine. And this doesn't have to just be in the morning. The morning is my time, though. Morning is my jam. It's when I'm the high energy and when I'm most creative and most effective is the morning. I know some people are nighttime people. Some people get their energy boost in the afternoon. Me, it's the morning. And so what I like to do in the morning to make sure that I get some regular things done is I set up a lot of routines. So I wake up. The first thing I do is I pray, and then I make my coffee, and then I clean my room, and then I read, and then I do some work at my computer, and I get ready, and I light some candles, and I take care of things around the house, and then I go to work. Well, I work from home right now, and then I go to work. So thanks, Sheba. So those, I have a morning routine, so I'm making sure that I'm regularly doing some things that are very important to me that could really easily get lost in the shuffle throughout the day. So I said, mornings are my high energy time. I used to try to read before going to bed. I know a lot of people do that, so I thought I could do that too, but the only thing I do is fall asleep. So me and the book are, asleep and no reading is being done. So I decided why not do that first thing in the morning? So I do by at 5 a.m. I'm reading and I get half a chapter in or whatever I want to do that morning, and it's done because it was part of my morning routine. And consider doing that to be productive. A routine will help you get something done without even thinking about it. Like if I wake up every morning, I wake up, I pray. It's I don't even think about it. It's on autopilot, and it's not something I have to. Oh, did I do that today or whatever? It was like I woke up. I know I did it if I woke up because that's my routine. So build some routines in for yourself. I like morning routines because it starts the day off. It starts the day off fresh and nice and productive on the productive tone, and it only can go up from there. So that is what tip number 5. And since I've been speaking so much, I need to take a sip of something here. And I got, like I said, pink Moscato left over from me and Mom's 4th of July celebration. Just what I needed. Okay, so let's go on to tip number 6, unless there's a question or something someone wants to say. All right, going once. No, I'm just kidding. Chime in anytime. It pops up for me so I can see if you say something. The next thing I do is number 6. Find someone who will hold you accountable to the task. This is another biggie because a lot of things won't get done partly because no one's looking at us. You ever notice that? Like if you have somebody looking at you or over your shoulder or checking on you, you'll get it done. I'm perfectly, you want Moscato? Sorry, I just finished the bottle. But anyway, if you want to get something done, have somebody checking in on you, because that is how I get a lot of things done, by setting up accountability partners. A lot of times it's Brett, my husband. I'll tell him what I'm doing, or my mom, or coworkers, or my boss, because then I know I'm accountable to somebody. They're not going to come after me if I don't do something, but I still don't want to let anybody down. And that's part of the reason that accountability partners are so valuable, is because psychologically, they're not pressuring you, but you're pressuring yourself on their behalf, and it's a gentle pressure. Hopefully it's not too much that you're hurting yourself with pressure, but it's also really good because you don't want to let that person down. You don't want them to think that you're a failure. You don't want them to think less of you, anything. So you're much more willing to do something, and you're much more productive when it's time to do something than when no one's kind of watching out for you. And don't get confused with somebody like looking down at you, making sure that you do it right, but somebody who's got your best interests in heart, and they're looking after you, and they'll check you if you mess up, or if you start veering off and going the other direction. They'll check you, but they'll also hey, should you really be doing that? Or hey, it's Tuesday. I thought you were going to have that done, Monday. So what's going on? So you just think about that. Having somebody in your life, or several people, that can be your accountability person or partner, or somebody that knows what you want to do. I think I talked about this when I was talking about goal setting in my last video, that you tend to get much more done and go a lot farther when you have support and someone there that not that you can report to, or someone that you can just show off for, or celebrate with you. So try to get something like that in your life. Somebody that can hold you accountable to the task. Make sure they know what you're going through and why it's important for you. And you'll be surprised at how much family and friends and coworkers or whoever can keep you on task and going forward. So that's another trick I use for my productivity. When it's something I really, really want to do, I make sure to let other people know or someone else know, so that if nothing else, I will do it just to tell them that I did do it. So that is number 6. Any questions? Anything? Number 7. This one's big. They're all big. Like I said, if you Google productivity tips, you're going to come up with tons of things. There's people that, 77 tips to boost productivity. Elisa says accountability is essential. It is. It's very important to get things done. But like I said, if you Google accountability or productivity tips, you're going to come up with a ton of things. But I had to filter that list and come up with the things that I think really work for me, or really work in, sometimes you want to say real life to real people. But number 7, do things right the first time to minimize the effort needed. So what I mean by that is, obviously, you could do things fast and sloppy and get it done, and then you have to redo it because there were so many errors in it. It's not acceptable. Or you can do things slow and steady and get things done and right the first time. I choose to try to get things done right the first time. It's not always possible because, like I said, sometimes we make mistakes, but when at all possible, try to do things right the first time. Fast and sloppy, it's like with that tale, the rabbit and the turtle and the what's it called? Rabbit in the hare? No, turtle in the hare, rabbit. That turtle was really slow and he wins the race, and the rabbit falls asleep. You know what I'm talking about. But that's the same principle here, is you want to do things right the first time. It'll free you up from repeating it and getting it to do it over again, where you have more time to do a new task and get something else done. Now, there was a couple questions that came in. I just want to backtrack and go back to those. Sheba asked, how do I stay motivated? And Concert Junkie 27, what do you think about feeling guilty for being lazy? I'm good at being productive. Okay, so let me go back and let's see if I click on this. Oh, double click. No, it doesn't do anything. Okay, so how do I stay motivated? I stay motivated by I'm trying to impress myself. I'm not trying to do anything major for other people, except for whoever I'm being held accountable to something for. But I had to change my mindset, and that really helped my motivation. And I'm actually going to do a video and a blog on motivation coming up. That's one of the topics I wanted to talk about. But I find that when you do something, do it for yourself and have your purpose and why you want to do it. And that will a lot of times motivate you beyond anything else you can do. So like I said, rewards are motivating. You want to celebrate, you want to get something nice, a treat, but you also want to make sure that you accomplish that task or what you were going for yourself and for that reason that you came up with the idea or the task in the first place. So for example, I want to write a book, and that's something I've announced, I think, in my last video on goal setting. I want it so bad. It's hard, believe me, it's extremely hard to find the time, to know what words to put down, and my pace is extremely slow. But I want it so bad because I see myself as an author. I see myself influencing people at a greater scale than I can right now. And it's something that is so like deep inside of me that I want to do so much that that motivates me. So look within for reasons for motivation rather than external things. I think you'll go a lot farther. And like I said, I have a whole blog and video series coming up on motivation. In, let's see, where do I have it down? I think it's coming up in a few weeks, so stay tuned. Now, Concert Junkie, what do you think about feeling guilty about being lazy? I'm good on being productive, but I feel bad for not doing anything. Hey, as a reformed, very lazy person, actually, Mom, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm a Taurus and we're known for being lazy. So this is something I overcome all the time, is that deep down sense of I'd rather be sitting on the couch watching YouTube, or I'd rather be laying in bed, just laying in bed, than doing all these other things. But feeling guilty about that, I think it's not. I think it's natural and normal for you to have downtime. First of all, you got to relax. You got to have downtime. You can't be going at a rapid pace 24/7 or you'll burn out. So first of all, don't feel guilty. Change your mindset if you can, because you'll find that if your mindset takes you to guilty, it'll bring you down and it'll make you feel low, so that you'll be even more unmotivated to do anything. So if you can change your mindset from being guilty to feeling it, now you can't sit around and do nothing all the time, but you definitely deserve to take a break and to refresh and revitalize. So that's what I think about that. Don't feel guilty. I mean, yeah, if you're like sitting on the couch day in and day out all day, we will have to talk about something else. But lazy, if you do 10 things a day and the 11th thing is just to sit and do nothing, Okay, my mom says that was my mantra with you kids. What was your mantra? I can't remember. Sometimes necessity is a motivator. Yes, necessity is a motivator. Sheba says, yes, desperation and no money, great motivation. Yes, been there, done that. I grew up with no money, and in my 20s had no money, and I said enough of that. So that, it's a spark for motivation. What can I do to change things around? And then being willing to do it. So, so very, very good. But Mom, what was your, anything worth doing is worth doing right the first time. Anything worth doing is worth doing right the first time, she says. And that's very good. Very, very key to what I was talking about before. Wonderful. Any other questions? So that was, what was that? That was, do things right the first time to minimize effort needed. And we are at, tips for increasing income. Would you like to have that as a video idea, Concert Junkie? I'm going to write that down. Maybe we'll have that be a topic, because I have some things to say about that. But I have to get my mind organized around what to say. So we will revisit that maybe at another live video session. And by the way, I plan on doing these regularly. I'm thinking this time, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Central, every other week. So not next week, but the week after, I'm probably going to come back and do another video. So mark your calendars. You'll see a reminder on my channel. But if this is working out, this is something that I would like to do regularly, because it's a lot easier. I don't want to say easier. it's nice to feel that connection with you while I'm sharing this content. So if nothing, I mean, I read your comments, I know you're there, and we can Q&A and all that stuff. So it's much more interactive than a regular video. So I would like to and put this in on my channel as a regular thing I do every other Tuesday at 7. So let me know in the chat if that sounds good to you. I mean, you can always watch them on a replay or not at all if you want. So, but that's what I think I'm going to do because I've got a lot. I got a lot of content I want to share and a lot of things I want to talk about, and this is just a natural way for me to do it. But anyway, on to the next tip. I've got 14, so I better move on here. So we talk about do things right the first time. Oh, here, number 8. Hang out with productive people who are getting things done. Leave the bums to the side, sitting on the street corner, doing nothing, and you go find the people that are getting done, you know, A, B, and C, and X, Y, and Z, and you hang out with them all day, because if nothing else, it will rub off on you. I'm sorry, I got distracted by a comment. My mom was saying, oh, I'll be great with the increasing income topic. I hope so, but I'll tell you whatever I can. But anyway, yeah, hang out with productive people. Leave the people that don't do anything, leave them alone for a while and see. I bet you'll get productive just by association, because we have that natural tendency to want to live up to what the people around us are doing. And if the people around you are toxic and they're not doing anything, and they don't see the need to do anything, and they don't see the vision for themselves isn't greater than right here and right now, move on and find your people and your crew that is doing things, that wants to take things to the next level, all that good stuff, because it will rub off on you. You'll get tips and ideas, just like you're doing now. You'll get tips and ideas that you never thought of that might work for you. And it'll be just so much more energizing to talk to people and have people in your life that are doing things. So, sorry, it's very hot in here. I love it, but my nerves or something is making me even warmer than normal. So I should get my fan out. But anyway, yeah, hang out with people that are doing things. I just by osmosis, you'll notice that things are happening in your life. You're gonna feel that motivation, that pull, that just peer pressure, if nothing else, to get things done. So that was one of the things that I think really stands out to me, because I do have those people in my life that I chat with. My girlfriend Stephanie, she's also very entrepreneurial and wants to get a lot of things done in her life, and she's got a lot of goals and dreams and aspirations, and I just love it when we chat like for 2 hours at a time on a regular basis, just about what we've got going on, what we're gonna do next, and what we've accomplished. So that's very energizing for me. And after our conversation, I feel like, yeah, even though it's dead at night and I'm tired and it's late, I'm like, yeah, what else can I do now? Because Stephanie's doing A, B, and C. I want to do A, B, and C too. So that's if nothing else, get yourself some people in your life that are doing things, and you'll learn from them. Any questions with that? You all feel like you have some people in your life that are, the go-getters that motivate you, get things done? Like I said, we all can't control who is in our life. They say that you can't choose your family sometimes, but you can choose your friends, and you can choose who you decide to give your time and attention to. And I bet if you make a switch or make a shift in that, you will come out and be much more productive. So let's see, what do we have next? I need a drink. I need a sip, not a drink. Okay, the other thing is limit time wasters so that you can get things done. Now, we all know that those things that we want to get done, because we've written our list of our 3 to 5 things that we want to do. We've planned our week, we've planned our activities, we know what our purpose is and what we want to do. But there's always those things that get in the way, right? Facebook. Facebook is popping, and you want to scroll, and Instagram, and you want to see what everybody's doing, or TV. That's something I cut out a long time ago, but watching, do people watch TV anymore, or is it just like Netflix and stuff like that? But watching TV shows and all that, that can take away a lot of your time for doing other things. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't enjoy those activities, but keep them to a minimum, especially when you need to get things done. Block out times where it's the screen-free time, so that you can be productive, or just not you don't have to completely eliminate things, but know when it's the best time and place for those. So like I don't watch TV, but you would never catch me watching TV in the morning, because that's my high productivity time, and I'm going to choose that time to getting some other things that really need to be done in my day done and out of the way. Now, I would watch a movie or a TV show at night before I went to bed, because I'm going to fall asleep anyway, and it's just something comforting maybe to get me wound down and into a relaxing mode or something like that. Look at my social media for little pieces of time in the day, not for long stretches. That just works better for me. So avoid time wasters. And let's see. Okay. Let's see here. The next one. I don't know if we're going to get to all 14, but I have the article linked in this video, so when this goes to replay. Otherwise, you can go to pink2paris.com, PINK, the number 2, and paris.com, and you'll see a click for my blog, and it'll take you right to this article. What is it called? It's called 14 Productivity Tips to Get More Done. So we are on number 10, so I'm going to get through number 10, and that is to learn to say no when you need to avoid overcommitting yourself, because that is, if you're trying to be productive and get things done, your goal is to check everything off your list. And if you keep telling people, yes, I'll do this, and yes, I'll do that, your list will never end. So be very cautious, or not even cautious, be on your guard. Guard your time and your list like it's precious. And not everybody can just get on your list, because you have priorities and you have things that you want to do, because you're motivating yourself. And I used to have a big problem with this, and that I would tell people yes all the time. I'll do this, I'll do that. They get a little shocked now when I say I don't think so, because I can't operate like that, because I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a full-time employee, I'm a soon-to-be business owner, I'm all these things. I just don't have the time and energy to keep saying yes to other things that come up. So big productivity tip and getting your list accomplished is to not put so many things on it in the first place. Does that make sense? Any questions, anything? Let's see, what time is it? We're going 49. I can do a couple more. Is that okay? Any questions? Feel free to pop in and let me know, because I will stop, but I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to go until an hour, and then we'll call it a day. But the next thing that I do, and I do this pretty religiously now, is wake up earlier so that you can have more time to tackle tasks. So I wake up every morning at 4:30 in the morning. It used to be 5. I would wake up without an alarm. 5:30 I would wake up just naturally, but I decided to go ahead and I have the Amazon Echo, and I don't want to say its name now because it'll start doing things. But in the morning at 4:30, it turns on my lights. It tells me to get stuff done, and then it plays the theme to Rocky. And I wake up to the theme to the movie, The Rocky. You all know Rocky. And that just gets me pumped and motivated, and it's a great way to start my day. And I love it because when 6:30 in the morning rolls around and most of the world is thinking about waking up, I've already been up for 2 hours and I've already been doing things and getting stuff done for 2 hours. So I love that. It didn't take very long because I'm a morning person. It didn't take very long to get used to. And now it's completely, now I wake up at naturally on my own at like 4:28 before the alarm, and I just lie there because I love the technology taking over. And somehow my son got it set up where the Amazon Echo knows how to talk to my lamps, how that works, and then do these other things to get me started. So it's a very energizing morning and a great way to get more time in your day so that you can do more things. Let's see here. We are at, we got time. The next thing I do, or another thing that I do, is make sure to give different tasks or projects deadlines and time limits. This is important for goal setting as well. You always want to make sure that your goal is time bound or has a deadline, because otherwise it'll just keep going on, and you'll never know when it's going to be complete or when it needs to be complete. So I like to make sure that my goal or my tasks have some kind of time limit. So usually if I write my 3 to 5 things, they have to be done today or done this week, or those really, really short-term projects or tasks, or this quarter or whatever. You know what I'm saying. But give yourself some kind of deadline or time frame to accomplish a task. Like if you say, I want to clean my closets, as well as I do that you're not going to clean your closets right away. You have to give yourself, like, I need to clean my closets this weekend. Maybe because you're going shopping and you're going to get new stuff and you got to get rid of this old stuff. But you have to set some kind of timeline or deadline. And I'm very deadline driven. Like, I rarely miss a deadline, especially if am given one at work or in life. A deadline is a deadline. Don't go crazy over them, especially if they're self-imposed. But it's a great way to motivate yourself or get yourself in the mindset that something needs to be done, and not only does it need to be done, but it needs to be done at a certain time. So that's really good. That's funny. And then 14. Oh, we will finish because we just have a little bit of time left. Number 14, and this one is huge. I didn't see it in my Google searches. It's something that I came up with on my own, so I'm claiming this one. But automating tasks is a great way to get things done and to be much more productive. And what do I mean by automating tasks? I mean putting things in, using technology a lot of times to get something done automatically. So like for me, bills get paid automatically. I have auto pay set up for, if it's possible to do auto pay, it's done. The only bills I pay are like the random medical bills for, going to see the doctor or dentist that are just so random that you can't put on auto pay. But everything else, I don't worry about bills. I just make sure that the money is in the bank, and they send me a thing to let me know how much it's going to be or what they're going to take out, and that's fine. But sitting there writing checks, the envelopes, the stamps, all that business, no, I don't do that anymore. That's time wasted that I don't need to spend doing that, where there's technology. Let that do it for me. So things like that are great for getting things done. So all my bills are paid all the time and on time, and I don't have to think about it because I set it up automatic. Now I have to do a little bit in the beginning to set up the automation, but once you spend that initial effort, it pays itself back, and you know, much more than the effort that you put into it. So that's my last tip and trick that I want to go over with you. Like I said, if you go to pink2paris.com, you'll find my blog and this article that I wrote on productivity, 14 productivity tips to get more done. There's actually another 10, no, more than, I think a dozen more tips that I go over on that article too. So it's more like 26, well, 14 plus 10 or 12, I can't remember how many, but you'll find it there. There's a lot more tips that I give on the blog, and you can check those out if you go to pink2paris.com. Also, if you go to pink2paris.com, I'd love to have you sign up on my email list. I'm sending out newsletters like twice a month to let people know what I'm up to. I'm also on social media, Facebook, Instagram, at pink2paris. You can follow me there. And if you're watching this on the replay, please leave a comment as to what your productivity tips are or how you feel about anything that I've come up with here on this list, because I'd love to hear from you, and I respond to all comments, and I would, just love to hear from you. Keep the conversation going. So with that, unless anyone has anything else, I'm going to call it a video. We're at 57 minutes, 57 and a half. And I think this is the time when my talking time has had enough, because an hour straight talking really makes me need to give my voice a rest. So I thank you so much. There's a nice amount of you here. I thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to coming back in a few weeks to be live as well. And thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Mom, for the nice comment. Love you too. And I look forward to seeing you all again really soon on the Pink2Paris channel. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.